Hello and welcome back to the Sometimes Daily Show. It's a bit of a special one this time because it's the weekend. We didn't expect to have to do a video. Before we get into it, I'm Philip Edwards.
And I'm Michael Palmer.
Now today, we're going to just have a kind of extended discussion on Jason Schreier's new article on Bloomberg about Cyberpunk. We all knew it was coming. We all expected it was coming. Make sure you go give him some love because he's probably the only real journalist in games journalism. And he's put a lot of effort into this, so go give him some love. He deserves it. So, let's start by just saying pretty much all of our predictions were correct. We called it absolutely. The development was a complete mess. Jason spoke to 20 current and former employees, most of whom wish to remain anonymous because, you know, this is the gaming industry. If you tend to go on record saying bad things about one company, you're never getting hired ever again. So, one of the big takeaways was this development appears to be exactly the same as Anthem's was, where CD Projekt Red were so hyped up on their own skill, what they'd pulled off with The Witcher 3, that even though the vast majority, if not all of the developers, were saying to management, we're not doing this on time. You haven't given us enough time. This isn't going to be right. They pretty much just said, we'll figure it out along the way.
Oh, yay.
That
is pretty much exactly what we said to begin with, wasn't it?
They were also quoted as saying that they were expecting it all just to come together because they were CD Projekt Red. Almost like BioWare magic, but for them it was CD Projekt magic. I'm going to quote a bit of Jason's article.
Okay.
Although Cyberpunk was announced in 2012, the company was then still mainly focused on its last title, and full development didn't start until late 2016, employees said. That was when CD Projekt essentially hit the reset button, according to people familiar with the project. Studio head Adam Badowski took over as director, demanding overhauls to Cyberpunk's gameplay and story. For the next year, everything was changing, including fundamental elements like the gameplay perspective. So there was a lot of turmoil, and I think that actually makes it slightly not better, but more palatable. If you look at Cyberpunk 2077 and you go, this game was made, it took 8 years to make this. That's a disaster. It didn't. It took 3.
Yeah.
Because in late 2016, they pretty much scrapped everything they had done. So that's 4 years. Then they spent a year faffing about having difficulties deciding on a direction. Anthem, Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah, see, I was going to say, you definitely heard the stories with Anthem where, you know, I think loads of people did the usual thing where, because Anthem was EA, wasn't it? And
Yep.
Loads of people did the usual thing of, blame EA. Yeah, for once, it wasn't actually, like, EA's fault with that one, was it? They actually came along and said, hey, add this, that's pretty cool.
It
develop
was a
that.
failure of the BioWare studio.
Yeah, whereas this is... Oh, it's just, that's where someone's come in and they feel so... I don't know, self-important almost, where it is just, I need to validate everything about me. Do this. Scratch that. You know, oh, you've done work, have you? No, we're not doing that anymore.
He did later on go to say it led a bunch of top staff who had worked on The Witcher 3 and who had been helming Cyberpunk, and they had a clear vision of how they wanted it to go. Adam Badowski pretty much threw that all out the window, and it made those staff leave.
Wow. Why would you do it? Why would you alienate your own staff like that? This is just a me thing. I can never understand what people's thought processes are for these sorts of things, because I mean, really, but you've got an entire team. You're meant to use the entire team, so don't invalidate any of the work they've done. Don't walk in there and think you know best. You know, just common sense and decency, and then that's how the magic is made. You get everyone working together, not just one person who's all up themselves about it.
The weirder thing is, these people were the people who helped make Witcher 3 the masterpiece that it is. So you know they've got the talent, you know they can crack out a great game,
and yet you're
sitting
still
there stressing about going, oh my god, we need to make a title that lives up to The Witcher 3. Now I'm going to alienate and ignore those people.
Yeah, I don't get it. I really don't. I think you can feel like you can feel how much, like when you play that game, you can feel that there was some sort of lack of soul to it, for lack of a better way of putting it. You know, there was no, hey, we're super duper proud of this one. It was very much a, is this? And I know it wasn't up to the dev team themselves to crank it out that early. That wasn't their decision to make, and we've had that apology, as much as that was. But
that apology was a man stands there and lies to you for 5 minutes. That was
I
nonsense.
I know, but it's still there. It's out there. It's on the internet. It's never going to go away now. So that is what it is. But why would you not have that level of trust, that level of faith in your own team, to be able to go, hey, I trust you guys. Let's get it done.
I'm guessing because of money, but let's move on. There is plenty left for us to go through. I recently went back and watched the 48-minute gameplay trailer they released a couple of years ago that was showing off how amazing the game was, and I was shocked how different it was from the game. There's a reason. I'm going to quote Jason Schreier's article again. Quote, what they didn't know was that demo was almost entirely fake. CD Projekt hadn't yet finalized and coded the underlying gameplay systems, which is why so many features, such as car ambushes, were missing from the final product. Developers said they felt like the demo was a waste of months that should have gone towards making the game, end quote.
Oh, man. I remember we didn't watch that before the game released, because we didn't want to be caught up in all that hype. We didn't want to overhype ourselves for the game. You know, we were sat there all through its development time, weren't we? Just going, hey, this is CD. But, you know, we can trust that they'll make a game. We'll make a brilliant game. We'll enjoy it. We just don't want to be so overhyped that it doesn't live up to that hype. So we'll give it a miss. And to hear that is just... I mean,
That's why we had such clear heads when the game was about to come out. We didn't put it up on the channel, but we were internally saying, this game's going to be a miss. This game's going to be a hard miss, and we should avoid it. We both pretty much tried to cancel pre-orders, but it was too late. It was a big miss, and we knew it was going to be. And it was, because we had a clear head. We should have put it up in a video. It's just we didn't want to make 1,000 Cyberpunk videos.
Yeah, I mean, I got back from work, didn't I? And that's when I said, hey, I tried to cancel my pre-order. Guess what? The money's already come out. So, yes, I'm getting Cyberpunk. And now I'm just sort of sat here like, I should have cancelled it the moment I heard that it was delayed after they said it had gone gold.
We'll get back to that as well. Another thing, it does slightly circle back to CDPR or CD Projekt and how you should have no trust for them anymore. For years, they were telling us that they were actively avoiding crunch, and they spent so much time emphasizing that we know crunch is probably going to happen, but we're doing everything in our power to try and stop it. We know some people are going to feel like it is necessary, but we're going to try and stop it. And everyone was under the assumption that they weren't crunching until the last couple of months. No, there was an employee in 2018 who said there were times when I would crunch up to 13 hours a day. A little bit over that was my record, probably, and I would do that 5 days a week.
Oh, no.
Uh-huh.
No. You should not be spending half the day at work. There is no way you should do that. I mean, I know there are plenty of people out there that do. I know there are completely different jobs where people do go, you know what, I've been here for 16 hours, I'm not done, let's carry on. But it has been proven you're working in negative after that. You have so many hours a week where you are productive. What was it? Was it about 50 hours, something like that?
It's 50 hours of work. Anything over that, and you actually start losing hours. You lose progress.
Yeah. And so I get that there are high demand jobs, and I do understand that with most jobs, and the way it should be with any job is the more stressful, the more demanding, the more rewarding in terms of pay, maybe even benefits, that it should be. But you should not be sacrificing half your life, essentially, in a given day to work. You have to have a balance. And if you don't have that balance, you don't come back properly refreshed and ready to go. That is awful. 13 hours. I don't think I could actually sit down and do anything for 13 hours straight. I don't think I could do it, regardless if I liked it or not.
That's the thing. That's exactly how it starts going into negative time. Because you end up starting wasting time and you make errors, and it didn't speed up development at all. It was just a waste.
That sucks. That actually sucks.
The next part is he went on to speak. I'm going to quote him. It feels like I'm just reading his article here, but it's such a good quote. At E3 in June 2019, this is a direct quote, CD Projekt announced that the game would come out on April 16th, 2020. Everyone remembers that. Yeah. Fans were elated, but internally, some members of the team could only scratch their heads, wondering how they could possibly finish the game by then. One person said that they thought the date was a joke. Based on the team's progress, they expected the game to be ready in 2022. Developers created memes about the game getting delayed, making bets on when it would happen.
22.
That, look at the Cyberpunk we've got now. 2022 is about right.
Yeah. To be fair, if they had gone, hey, Cyberpunk will be out in 2022, I would be like, all right, that's fine. I'll wait till then.
That's the thing.
I know.
You've got to remember. It was the management that pushed it. The management originally announced April 2020.
See,
why?
I'm not hating on the dev team because I know that it's not their decision. But listen to them. Just because they're the dev team, just because it's not their decision, doesn't mean they don't know and don't understand. And this is such an example of it as well. They know the workload. They're the ones working it. Listen to them. That's like paying for a professional in any field and in deciding, thanks for your advice, I'm going to completely ignore that and do something else. Congratulations.
The thing is that there is a reason why they kept pushing forward and wanted it released now. And management had been saying to everyone, they have to get it out before the new Xbox and the new PlayStation. Even if it's a terrible launch, if they get it out before, then they can, quote, double dip, end quote. by releasing it on current gen and then releasing it again on next gen.
Okay, but how's that worked out for them? Because even later on down the line, when they've gotten rid of all of the bugs, crashes, when they've added more stuff to the game, etc., etc., I'm not buying it again. I'm sorry, you just had collector's edition money off me. I'm not paying again. And I know they've done the whole free upgrade thing, and good, so you should, but I probably won't download it. I'll probably redeem it for the sake of redeeming it, just in case I have a mad moment and decide to go ahead and try it, but I'm not fast. I'm nowhere in terms of story in that game. I don't want to play it.
I think in 2 years' time, when they've finally fixed the game, I think it'll probably be worth playing. The thing I can see happening though, this is absent Jason's article. I'm just calling it now. So it's widely known that the wanted system is awful, and there's no bounty hunters, like they said there would be.
Yeah.
And the driving mechanic is terrible, and there's no garage. These are going to be the free DLCs.
Oh, that, yeah. I have to say, I haven't put too much thought into the game because, hey, I wasn't impressed with it, so it doesn't really take any part of my brain. But yeah, that does feel like such a painfully, glaringly obvious decision.
It's I guarantee it, because The Witcher 3 had New Game Plus as a free DLC. No, you finished the game. You didn't add extra content, you finished the game.
Yeah.
That's what's happening here.
I would like to say, because I have seen a lot of arguments, I guess. I was going to say conversations, but they never end up staying that civil online, because, you know, it's the nature of being online, where people have said, oh, you know, we should go back to when they actually pushed out a fully finished game and released it. We should. And I'm not talking about, hey, there should never be any bug in it at all. We live in the age of the internet. We can afford for things to have a couple of minor bugs. You know, like, okay, Unity had people's faces just completely missing, and it led to some great memes, and people wanted it back after it got fixed. That's funny. Yeah, it's annoying when you're on release and expecting something amazing, something grand, and you get that. But those ones, it's just immersion breaking. It's not actually game breaking. But to leave out an entire I can't think of the word here, not experience, part of the game, like New Game Plus.
Like a core feature.
Thank you. A feature. That is inexcusable. If you've made a game where you don't have an open end, then guess what? You need a New Game Plus if you want that replayability. If it's got that level of replayability in it, it needs a New Game Plus. So why wasn't it there in the first place? So that you could, get bonus brownie points for releasing it as free DLC? That's not free DLC. I completely agree with you. You finished the game. Congratulations. It was only how many years late?
And I think that's what's going to happen with Cyberpunk. I would put money on it. There's two more things, like two things of important note. The Gone Gold. We initially said here at the show that after the delay when it had gone gold, it meant the game was in a serious issue. It had serious integral problems, and it did. It was completely broken. There were chunks of dialogue that were just outright missing. There were actions that didn't work properly. No one in management actually cared. The game ran like arse. It was bad. It was so bad. So, yeah, That was after it had gone gold, after they had already promised the console makers, no, all this will be fixed with a day one patch, we promise.
We did say, didn't we? We did say when it happened, we went, no, this is worrying. And yet I did see so many people online going, no, it's fine, I trust them. Okay, that's all very well and good, but that just screams of being, I don't know, willfully blind to it. It's going gold at least used to mean that it was ready. That game right there was ready. Yeah, okay, nowadays it's a day one patch that will fix that really major issue that has been pointed out to them. And I don't necessarily agree that you should be allowed to go gold when you need a day one patch to fix anything major, but that's not my decision. However, to delay after going gold was... I don't know. It was a first. It felt so... Was it... Seriously? Was it the first to...
I cannot recall another time where a game went gold and then delayed. Because when a game goes gold, it means it's playable. It means it's done. The day one patch normally fixes bugs, reduces load times,
yeah,
extra
general maintenance
stuff. But without that patch, the game is still playable because it has to be. Because to go gold, you have to pass the console certification. So Microsoft has to get their cert team to play it and go, it's a functional game. They didn't. They cashed in on all of their goodwill by going to Microsoft, by going to PlayStation and going, we know it's buggy, we know it's not working at all, but the day zero patch will fix it, we promise. Let's also, real quick, before we move on, let's remember that they accidentally launched the digital version of the game a day early.
Yes, they did. We have a friend of the show, actually. None other than our own resident Scottish man, who sent us a picture the day before it released, didn't he? Sent us a picture of the title screen. And
that's the thing. The day one patch wasn't applied when it went live.
No.
Because they accidentally released the game a day early. How stupid is that? They mucked up. Anyway, the last thing I want to bring up that he covered in his article, which gives a little bit of validity to my prediction about the multiplayer.
Yep.
They had an issue with staff. Witcher 3 had 240 staff that worked on the game. Cyberpunk had over 500.
I was going to say, wasn't the number of staff for Witcher considered woefully low?
It is a low amount. Cyberpunk had 500. Now, to suddenly explode like that over the course of a few years is really detrimental to your team, because it's not a slow build-up where everyone gets to know each other and then works together.
You've got no rapport.
Can gel, because all of a sudden your team's doubled in a couple of years. So there's a new face coming into the office every day. So it's, okay, cool. Wow, hello, who are you? So that is a problem. But then on the exact opposite side, they were trying to make a game as big as GTA. They kept trying to push that messaging internally, that they wanted it to be this big, expansive world like GTA 5 or Red Dead.
Did they actively say that to them then?
I believe so.
Wow.
It was well known that they were trying to make a game that was similar, that they were trying to build that kind of big open world. The problem is GTA and Red Dead is made by a dozen or so studios who are helmed by about 1,000, 2,000 people. So they had this weird situation of where they had too many members of staff to cohesively work as a small, tight-knit group. But the project they were trying to go for meant that they needed more than double the staff they had. So they had too little staff and too many at the same time.
And
yep.
I don't know what to say to that. You have to pick what you're trying to be. Like, you're not meant to try and be like any other game, be your own thing, but you have to pick the sort of size you're trying to be. So, who was in charge of that absolute terrible failure of decision making? Because whoever pushed that idea that they had to be as big as GTA and Red Dead, do you even know the players that you're appealing to? Because apparently you don't.
Here's the thing that gives my prediction about the multiplayer validity. I think their goal is, or still is, to release a semi-competent single-player game, and then in a couple of years' time, when they release the multiplayer, it's going to be a GTA clone. It's going to be GTA, but in Cyberpunk. Because they've already confirmed they're doing a multiplayer element.
Yep.
And it's going to be a separate entity, and they said it was coming out in 2022. Now, what could be done in the Cyberpunk world? A racing game? No. A competitive shooter game like Call of Duty? Hell no. The guns are so unbalanced and the shooting is... It is what it is. The melee combat's floaty. There's only one option. They're going GTA.
That's gonna be awful. I can't see that doing anywhere near as well as GTA did. Not even a fraction of as well as GTA did.
I think if they still had all their goodwill, it would have. But they sold all of their goodwill on this game right here. If Cyberpunk had been the game that we were promised and the game we were shown, I think a GTA version of that game would be amazing. So I can see that kind of potential for doing it co-op and making all these things co-op. And I think that is what they're going for. That's why they were trying to build it like it was a GTA. The problem is it's not. And you won't ever be able to do it. And I understand that CD Projekt Red has a really weird cycle because they only ever release, one or two games every decade. And I get that that's a difficult cycle to be in, and I understand that GTA makes more money than God. But you're not GTA. People aren't expecting that from you. People want this linear, open world that is groundbreaking and makes innovations and steps forwards in the gaming industry and becomes a pinnacle of gaming.
Well, yeah, I don't know about you, but I mean, that's kind of pretty much how I feel about The Witcher 3. I don't feel like... I know that I will never feel anything amazing from Cyberpunk. I think if I go back to it, it will just be, I remember this about it. I'm sat here, and I've been sat here, you know, over the course of a few days. I've just sort of sat here, and I've been like, I should really finish it. I should really go to Cyberpunk, and I should finish it. I'd rather play something else, anything else, literally anything else. And if they're going to try and be GTA, especially GTA Online, I don't think I want to even begin to touch multiplayer. I don't think there will be any enjoyment out of that. Not for me, at least.
It's going to be a mess. It doesn't... The Witcher 3 holds the special place, not because it innovated, because it didn't actually particularly innovate. It didn't do anything. It did a couple of things new, and it did them well. But The Witcher 3 was such a success because it took the best of what could be, combined it in a way that was amazing, covered it in a beautiful story with amazing voice actors, and then made it shine. Made this game. It wasn't perfect at launch, but it became perfect. And it shines. It's amazing.
But
The Witcher is
then,
just... No, not The Witcher. Cyberpunk is just average. They haven't innovated on anything. It's not even the best of anything. It's the middle of the road or the worst of everything.
see, but then that's the thing. I see a lot of these sorts of discussions online, and I cannot stress enough that our problems with that game, what we find wrong with that game, it isn't bugs. We can look past that. I have played some buggy messes. I have played some really buggy messes. But I've found enjoyment out of them. I haven't with this. I mean, everyone has a game where they enjoy playing it, but if you play it too late at night, it's just going to send you to sleep. It's not engaging enough. That's Cyberpunk for me. So I just want to stress that we don't have an issue with the game because of the bugs. We just have an issue with the game, with what it is. But hearing that about the entire development cycle is just... It explains a lot.
I must say, I'm glad that it's not as bad as I kind of expected it to be, because the BioWare one was so bad, and it was hurtful to read, and it was hurtful to go through, and luckily it wasn't that bad. It does appear that luckily Polish labour laws are better and more stringent than America's. So at least we know the developers were compensated fully. And there weren't any reports of people finding offices to cry in. Anyway, that's pretty much all we have to say about Jason Schreier's article. Do go check it out. It is a good read. There's plenty of stuff we didn't cover because, we don't want this video to be 6 hours long of us just ranting about Cyberpunk. But please go check it out. He absolutely deserves you to go click on his article and give it a read, because Jason Schreier does amazing work. I may not agree with him on certain political things, but that doesn't change the fact he does amazing work. Go click on his article, give it a read, send him some love. And that's going to be it for us. Thank you very much for watching. If you like the video, like the video. If you want to catch more of our content, subscribe. If you're feeling extra spicy, why not leave us a comment and let us know, why is Cyberpunk bad? Why? Just why? That's all I want to see in the comment section, is just why. That's it. If there's anything else in the comment section, I'm not responding to you, but if you put why, I will. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.